This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
Grass tastes bad.
And we are back for another edition of the Rick and Johnny podcast right here on Most Valuable Podcast. Your one-stop shop for all the nerdy news, superhero news, movie news. We've got, well, you got the alien there.
I was trying like what's movie here? I mean, there's Chewbacca there too.
True. And, of course, Rick and Morty and everything in the nerdy atmosphere that we have. So thank you guys for coming back. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for joining us. If you're a new viewer, new listener, before we get into it, got a jam-packed show talking Incredibles 2. We're going to be looking at superhero fatigue. We're going to be looking at kind of a tease from Black Panther. So the middle segment, if you haven't seen Black Panther, I'm just saying it now. Spoilers, bro. You've been warned, but I'll warn you again. But little housekeeping before we get into it. Number one, if you like what you see, want to help support the channel, check out patreon.com down below in the description. Also in that description, make sure to check out the MVP store. That's where you could get your own Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt that we're selling there on the store. Number three, if you're on iTunes, you listen to Apple Podcasts, go over and give the Rick and Johnny podcast a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to us, just like the Dragon Ball that Johnny is holding up. Sorry to our audio listeners. And then the last one, go and check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. That's where everything goes, audio, video. You never miss anything from MVP at mostvaluablepodcast.com. But Johnny, all the housekeeping is over. We get to push it to the side. And we're like, people might have thought like, hey, I thought the trailer reactions might have been over.
No.
Are you a trailer reaction podcast now?
Yes.
We are not, but Incredibles 2 dropped as an Olympic
I thought differently.
Oh, you thought we were?
I thought we were. I'm sorry.
We're not changing everything.
I thought
here.
maybe I just missed the memo. That's all.
But we do have another trailer to watch. We're going to watch the Incredibles 2 trailer that dropped during the Olympics, about a minute and a half, so it's not terribly long. No. So as we always do, Johnny, we're going to show it. We're going to react to it. And I'll wait for you to get your headphones in. That wasn't quite as... I will be courteous. The audio listeners, you'll be able to hear the trailer along with us. Won't be able to see it. And as always, we're just going to go on three. So it'll be 1, 2, and then press play. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm glad we paused for like over 10 years.
You hurt your mother.
Superheroes are illegal.
We want to fight bad guys. It defines who I am.
We're not saying you have... What?
Someone on TV said it.
I love that part. Someone on TV said,
what?
It defines who I am.
Hero stuff. Help me bring supers back into the sunlight. We need Elastigirl.
Bye, sweetie.
Something's up with that.
That's not the way you're
New
supposed
math.
to do it, Dad. They want us to do it.
New math.
It's new math.
Why would they change math? Math is math. Math is math. All over Dusseldorf.
This is my favorite part. Tap, tap.
Whack.
Close it!
I couldn't have done this if you hadn't taken over so well.
I've got to succeed so she can succeed. So we can succeed. I get it, Bob. What the? That is freaky. But I can't keep giving him cookies. No biting the daddy.
No biting the daddy.
The daddy.
Properly, parenting is a heroic act.
Done properly.
Electric, fire, and lasers. That's menacing. Not to mention the shape-shifting and the teleportation.
Parenting done properly could be the most vital skill. Done properly. That's my favorite. I keep saying that's my favorite part. There are 3 parts to that I love. And I love the whole thing. This basically made me go, yes, sign me up. Incredibles coming this year. I cannot wait for the Incredibles. Can't wait. What are your thoughts after the trailer?
No, I'm excited. We're finally, like I said in the very beginning. Oh, cool. We left off where we were at like 10 years ago or so or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing
it's nice though.
The thing that I was looking at is because it's an animated movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, these actors probably aged the 10 years it's been, but the voices haven't.
Exactly.
So really they can pick it up right where the first one left off. And I like how we're looking into, it's more of the fan, like, yeah, we didn't get a ton of the kids.
No.
But like the part where Dash, it defines who I am. And
what?
What? I don't know, I heard it on TV or something.
Some guy said on TV.
Also, the thing I like, the first one was more like, hey, you know what, Mr. Incredible, I used to be this, superheroes were outlawed, now I feel trapped in my own job. Now they're looking at it on the side of Elastigirl.
Yes.
Where it's like, I feel trapped as a housewife.
She's going to be.
And this is my way to get out, and oh my God, everyone loves me because I'm Elastigirl.
She's going to be the hero now, and he's going to have to be the one that's kind of taking the back seat for now, in a sense. I mean, the movie seems like it's going to be a lot of him and the kids as well, because, I mean, that's the more entertaining part overall. Especially with Jack's powers developing now.
He's got so many. Lasers, fire, teleportation.
Electricity.
Can transform into a monster.
Well, he transformed into a few things in the other movie.
True.
So, there was something else too. He was like...
Shapeshift, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's shapeshift.
But, I mean, here's the question I want to ask you, because they didn't give too much into it. Who's going to be the villain?
In my eyes, I think it's that guy that says Elastigirl needs to come back.
You think so?
I think it's him. It's something to do with him, because almost seems like a dividing them up, because you saw how well they all work together at the end of the movie, having super strength, elasticity. What was the girl's powers? Both making shield.
She was
and
basically
invisibility.
She was basically Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Where she can create the bubble around them to protect them.
Yeah, she's an invisible woman.
Yeah.
Basically. And then Jack, that's got, not Jack, what's his name?
Dash.
Dash has speed.
Yeah, he's the super speedster.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, Frozone, family friend, ice powers. So, I mean, you got this team that is all together. I mean, if you split at least just one of them off, you weaken them already, especially with him trying to take care of the other three on his own.
Well, and the guy that you mentioned that you kind of think is the baddie.
That's what I'm going to go with.
His character name is Winston Winston Devore or whatever, however you pronounce it. By the way, just a side note, the actor that plays him, Bob Odenkirk, I love him. I love him. He's Better Call Saul.
Okay.
He's Saul from Better Call Saul or from Breaking Bad. He is one of my favorite actors, and I love him in mostly everything he's in, especially How I Met Your Mother, with the role that he played as Marshall's boss, I believe he was in that one, and had his little dog Putt-Putt, I think was the dog's name.
Okay.
But point being aside, when I heard that voice, I was like, I'm in. I'm in with the characters that I had, like the guy who plays Mr. Incredible, Craig T. Nelson. He was in the one that I remember him from, Blades of Glory, as their ice hockey coach.
Oh, yeah.
Been in other things. That's what I remember him from. You've got Holly Hunter as Elastigirl. I hear Odenkirk. I'm like, I'm in. I love it. I'm in. Here's the thing I think about with the villain, though. Is in the first one, they went along with the kind of trend of guy looks up to the superhero burns him, I'm going to use this for evil. Yeah. Kind of a thing and make a turn. Is this going to be a similar plot then where Odenkirk wants to bring superheroes back, but something might have happened in his childhood or something to where he's doing it for all the wrong reasons? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about.
That's what it still goes with Odenkirk is then the villain, because that's what I think it is he's the villain for whatever reason. And the best way to do that, like let's say he knows about the Incredibles. Who's the one people that can stand in my way? Well, this family team of superheroes. If I split them up, give Elastigirl more jobs and make Mr. Incredible the one that's just
has to stay at home.
Let's put it this way too. Elastigirl knows how to handle the kids. Right? True. Mr. Incredible, not so much. He was working. He does not. He was working, so he's a working father, and she was the stay-at-home mother. You split that up in the way that she's off fighting crime, and he's trying to help the kids now. he's too busy helping them to realize, oh shit, there's this and this that has to get done, and the mother is off doing her superhero job.
Now I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see if so. A lot of people think that, of course, like you said, Winston Dever is going to be the villain. However, there's another character that we didn't see in the trailer, but apparently her name is Evelyn Dever. Got a brother-sister thing going on, I believe, where maybe will it be the sister is the more diabolical one? That's the word I'm looking for. Diabolical one, and she could be the true villain. And it's a misdirection where it's not William, it's Evelyn who is the true villain in Incredibles 2.
Could be. I mean, here's another one. I mean, he's not the villain, but since they're brother sister, maybe they work together to create a business.
And the thing I can't wait for
he's not necessarily the villain then, but he's tied in.
And I'm looking, of course, at the these were tweets that were sent out by the Disney Pixar Twitter, and they're kind of showing the art representation of the character to who they're playing, and it kind of shows like how much of a match they are. Like Odenkirk to Dever is a 78% match of how much they look alike. Evelyn Dever, who's going to be played by Catherine Keener, she's a 41% match. There's another one here that we didn't get to see, which I'm not saying we should have got to see. Let's not get this twisted, but it's interesting. Sophia Bush is in the movie.
Really?
And she's going to play a character called Void, Voyd. And it looks like another super because the picture is this superhero with blue teal hair with kind of the flat side and the hair flying over, like going long this way.
Okay.
To the right for the audio listeners. Has a Robin-style mask, green suit with a teal circle, which looks like the two tops of a V, which I look at it and I would think another super.
Could be.
However, is this going to be like another super that Dever brings on somewhere else, and this is someone that Elastigirl kind of, not, I don't want to say talks to, but like interacts with while she's out in the field?
Could be. Could be, yeah.
Because, I mean, that to me, it interests me that we're going to get more, because of course they got to give us more heroes.
Yeah.
They got to give us new heroes, but the thing that I think this is going to...
Well, the other thing is supers don't have to be heroes.
True, they can be evils.
Yes.
They can be kind of like Ozone in a way, where of course he wasn't a super in the first one. He wasn't a super, but he used his power and technology to make him into one.
Wait, no.
Am I saying the name wrong?
Frozone?
No, not Frozone.
Yeah.
The villain from the first one.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Ozone?
No, it was not that.
Syndrome.
Syndrome. I was going to say.
Why Syndrome.
Yeah, Syndrome. I'm like, wait, what?
Because I'm like, dude, I'm looking at a picture of him right now with his stupid red hair and his big, firm chin, and he's pointing a laser out of his finger. Syndrome.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Syndrome was evil in the first one.
Yes, exactly. Good. He wasn't technically a super, but he had powers because he made them out of tech. So.
But this plot is going to revolve around, I think it should heavily revolve around, yeah, we want to see Elastigirl a little bit.
In the field, but I
want to see Bob at home.
Yes.
I want to see what's going on with the kids, with kind of, because it's new on that side too. Like the whole like superhero going out away from the family, we saw that in the first one. Mm-hmm. Give me the other side of it. Give me him dealing with the kids, which it looks like we get with the doozling, and he's knocking off. And then we also have the funniest thing.
That was the best.
This is math. You don't change math. Oh, that one too,
yeah.
Because and here's what I looked into. Apparently the joke that they're going for is, I was not old enough for this, but in the 50s they came out with new math.
Oh, did they?
And they tried to change everything. Everyone got mad. They went back to the old way. However, we're starting to see, like, that's a joke that even relates now.
Yes.
Because we see that now. Like, I looked at when I used to teach some of the math homework that the kids are working on. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, oh, it's math. I'm like, this is not math. They're like, oh, you do this, this, this. I'm like, but why don't you just do this and this? And it's eliminating a whole nother step that you just did. Like, it relates on so many different levels, no matter what age you are.
That's exactly, I know exactly what you're talking about. I talked to this guy. He has two girls, younger. I forgot their ages exactly. But he was trying to help them with math homework. He's like, well, why don't you just do it like this? And then she goes, well, we're not supposed to do it that way.
The teacher said do it this way.
Yes. The teacher said we have to do it one of these ways, but the way you're describing, Dad, is wrong now. It's like, but you get the same result quicker.
I am not wrong. Do not tell me I'm wrong. That's basically what I would do.
Yeah,
Flip
right?
the book and walk off. Fine, you do it by yourself then.
I'm thinking, well, my thought was, what do you mean it's wrong? You got the right answer.
Yeah.
But
I'm in the same boat.
Apparently
Get the right
nowadays it's not what answer you get. It's as long as you get there. It's how you get there. As long as, even if your answer's wrong.
Remember when we were in school, when we were in high school and stuff?
Yeah.
It was like, well, I got the right answer, but you didn't show your work. You didn't show your work, Johnny.
That was more of a are you cheating thing, I think.
I would hope so, but it really bugged me.
It did,
where it's like, I can do this all in my head. Why do I need to show my work?
I think that was more of a
especially on the easier ones where it's like, oh my God, I get it. X goes over here. This goes that way.
Yes, those ones we shouldn't have had to, but I guess it was the teacher's get around of show me you're not cheating. It's like, yes, I can do it in my head though. It's like I didn't even do any math in my head for this problem.
No, I just went boom, 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 boom. And
exactly.
I was done. Any final thoughts you've got on?
No, I'm excited about this. I can't wait for some more trailers on it to get a little bit more of the story. I don't want too much.
No, I can't.
Obviously, it's a Disney film. We don't want to Disney Pixar film.
Yeah,
we have to be more specific nowadays because of how many affiliates they have.
Well, you made the joke to me. I want to say Thursday before we saw Black Panther, where you're like, you know what, parents, don't take your kids to go see this. This movie's not for you. This movie is for people like me who grew up with The Incredibles, and they're coming out with this.
We've been waiting for this.
They're pandering for me, not for you.
Keep your kids away from the theater. It's not for them. This is for us.
They can get the second weekend. We get the first weekend. Yes. It's basically like a parent where it's like, all right, little Timmy can get them on next weekend, but we get them the first weekend. We get the first weekend with The Incredibles 2. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below of The Incredibles 2 trailer. What are you hyped for? What are you not hyped for? What are your questions coming out of this first trailer? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. But Johnny, let's move on into our next topic. And before we get into it, so if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, I said this at the beginning of our Incredibles segment at the beginning of the show, that this segment is going to have spoilers for Black Panther. So I cannot say that enough. If you're coming in on YouTube for this segment, this will have Black Panther spoilers.
Yes.
We're talking about Bucky Barnes. We're talking about something that deals with Black Panther. So if you don't want it spoiled, go ahead, see the movie, come back. We will be here waiting for you. But Johnny, I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to be very frank with it. No pun intended.
I thought you were Ricky.
No pun intended in a way, because Frank Castle also did a little bit of what we're talking about here.
Yes.
But Bucky Barnes, we saw him at the end of Black Panther. We saw him at the end. Kids were calling him White Wolf. I'm going to ask you, in the MCU, will Bucky be the next Captain America or the next White Wolf? If you had to pick one of them, who will he become in the MCU? Cap or White Wolf?
I have to pick one.
You have to pick one.
I have to pick one. I think,
out of the two, and then you can tell me what you really think is going to happen later.
Out of the two, I think it's event. I think if I have to pick one of the two, I think White Wolf was a nod to something they're not going to bring into the MCU. Okay. Kind of like Spider-Man: Homecoming, where they have, I think it was the Prowler, right?
Yes, but they could always bring him in.
They can always bring him in. What I think might happen is in Infinity Wars, Bucky's going to take up the temporary mantle of White Wolf, seeing as he's in Wakanda right now.
Yeah.
And then when this is now obviously predicting that what's going to happen overall in Infinity Wars, Cap's not going to make it.
Do you think he's going to die?
I think, well, I mean, contracts are up.
Do you think Cap and Iron Man both die?
Maybe.
Both of them, or one of the two?
One of the two or both. The one thing I would say
Cap
is...
dies, Tony Stark retires?
Yes. Or vice versa. Tony dies and Cap retires.
Either or.
Either or. Either way, that means... Either way. Bucky will take... Then at that point, someone needs to be Captain America. It comes down to Sam Wilson, or it comes down to the other guy with the super soldier serum inside of him, Bucky Barnes.
True.
I'm thinking it's either going to be a temporary White Wolf for a little while thing, or I just saw this one. For a while, we do White Wolf even up to the second Black Panther movie, and then Sam Wilson just like, I can't handle this Captain America thing. He takes the mantle, as whatever happens with Steve happens with Steve, and Bucky's like, I'll take up the mantle. I'm not going to be White Wolf anymore. I'll take up the mantle as Captain America.
So what you're thinking is maybe in Infinity Wars he's known as White Wolf. But once Cap dies, it's like, okay, I'm going to be Captain America.
Basically, Cap dies or stops doing it. Basically, that's when he starts doing it.
Now, what I could see them doing is, my first thought is the whole White Wolf thing.
Yeah.
In the after the post-credit scene, I could see them just as like, that was just like, oh, that's a nod to the comics.
Yeah.
It's a nod to the comics. We're not going to do anything with it, but here you go. We gave you a little treat at the end. However, here's what I'm kind of thinking. If I had to pick the two, Bucky's got to be the next Captain America.
Yeah.
He's got to be. Although I would, like, it would really depend, because it plays into the two sides of the White Wolf character also, because the White Wolf character in the comics was a person who his parents, I think, went missing or died while he was in a plane crash in Wakanda. He survives.
Yes.
You have Black Panther, T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, takes him in and adopts him. And this kid, Hunter, just loves Wakanda, falls in love with it. And then when T'Challa takes up the mantle, that's when Hunter kind of breaks off and starts his own mercenary force, which is the Hatu Zarare.
Yeah.
Zararze. See, I keep forgetting that second Z.
Yeah, there's
But
second Z in there, Ricky.
I could see them kind of doing that in a way, because, I mean, look at what Bucky is doing right now. Last time we saw him in Civil War, he was in the white T-shirt going into the cryo freeze chamber.
Yes.
To try to, hey, we're going to reset his memory and we're going to make him all better for you, Cap. Then the next time we see him in Black Panther, yes, we see him and they're calling him White Wolf, but he's the stuff that he's decked out in.
I think it was like full blue with a red kind of sash thing around where the nub is.
They didn't do that by no mistake.
You're right. I didn't think about it because of all
mistake.
I didn't think about it because
that was premeditated, Johnny.
Obviously, it's Marvel.
Yes.
They don't do this stuff for nothing.
No, they don't. But I could see them kind of mixing the two, maybe.
Yeah.
To where it's, yes, Bucky becomes the next Cap because Steve's going to die, but I could also him being like, people are going to say, are we going to see Bucky in the next Black Panther movie, Black Panther 2? And I could see it happening where it's like, hey, I am Captain America now, but I am coming to help you, kind of White Wolf style.
Yeah,
to where
it could be
it's
that
like,
too.
You know what? While I was kind of having my brain reset, I wouldn't be surprised if Bucky falls in love with Wakanda.
Yeah,
a little bit. It just loves everything about it.
I mean, especially
and then
with
takes
the
on that atmosphere,
with the looking into the distance and looking at all of Wakanda's wonders, just like sort of at the end of Black Panther. Again, spoilers.
Yeah, Killmonger.
With Killmonger says, my dad said I would always see Wakanda, so he actually brings them up to the top to say, basically, last wish.
We're going to get into that ending into our movie review.
Yes,
so if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. I should have plugged that at the beginning of the segment, but exactly, like beautiful, like Wakanda is just beautiful.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I'm looking into, where, however, on the other side, I could see them doing a thing where Bucky goes, you know what? I'd love to take on the mantle of Captain America, because here's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen in Infinity War. Mm-hmm. We know from the trailers that there's going to be a battle in Wakanda, which still leaves the question, is the Soul Stone in Wakanda?
Yeah, at this point.
Is it in Wakanda? Because why would Thanos send an army, air quotes, an army into Wakanda? What's so, like, unless Thanos wants vibranium, but really, he's got a fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
Maybe to make those machines.
Maybe,
the
but
sky machine.
It's either the vibranium or because there's something there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
That's just kind of hidden in
Wakanda.
the
only other thing I could think is at some point it ends up in Wakanda.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not there now. Maybe it is there now. I don't know.
And like I told you when I saw the headlines of that, I'm like, we have talked about that so many times.
Yes, we have.
I believe that was in the first ever podcast.
I think so.
The
Where
Rick
the
and
hell
Johnny
is the Soul
podcast.
Stone?
Where
Why?
is the
Because
Soul
we
Stone?
still don't know where it is by Infinity Wars.
A year later, still don't know where that motherfucker is. But I could see them doing a whole thing where after the events of Infinity War, Bucky goes, you know what? I'm not going to take on the role of Cap. I'm staying here. I'm helping the people of Wakanda White Wolf style.
Could be.
And then we get Falcon. He takes on the role of Cap, kind of a pseudo Frank Castle thing.
Yes.
Where it's, hey, I'm taking on the mantle. Somebody needs to take on this mantle. And then eventually Falcon hands it to Bucky.
So exactly what I said in the beginning, but longer.
Yeah, longer. Very much longer.
You just put more detail into it.
No, yeah, more detail, and I would say a bigger gap between
Well,
him.
I said, like, that's almost exactly what I said earlier,
Okay.
is what happens is Bucky stays White Wolf for a little while.
Like
And,
how long?
well, let me get into it first. And in that meantime, Falcon takes on the mantle.
Okay.
And then maybe after or during Black Panther 2, because I think we actually have a little bit of, not actual confirmation, but there's talks about it.
Yeah.
That there's going to be Black Panther 2. Does it during part of it. And then kind of like maybe at the end, Falcon's like even after credit scene, Falcon's like some interaction between the two. I can't do this Captain America thing. Bucky, it's on you. Mm-hmm. You can, but obviously he's the guy with the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Would probably be better set off for being Captain America than the one that doesn't, and then the normal guy just has a pair of flight wings.
Yeah, and I mean,
Not to down Sam Wilson, but
I would like that side of it to where if Bucky doesn't take on the role first, instead of like Captain America throws his might and he's just right into it, like right into being Captain America. But I could see them going, hey, you know what? He is Captain America. And the thing that's going to throw a loop into this is right now we've got movies planned until 2020, I believe.
maybe
with
even 2021,
Marvel.
I thought.
From what I heard is any movie that you had seen going into for 2020, that's the, hey, you know what? That's what we know for sure. Anything after that, they're not sure about. They're not really 100% with what is going to be upcoming, but I could see them kind of doing a Captain America movie in the future, another Black Panther. And I wouldn't be surprised if they said, okay, we're going to keep him as White Wolf. Mm-hmm. And this is now for the timeline going off of both what you and I said.
Yeah.
So, okay, he's White Wolf for the Black Panther 2 movie, whatever villain that may be, because, spoiler alert, they killed both of them. It's a Marvel movie. But
Surprise, surprise.
in that next Cap movie, like, what if it's this? What if it's not even a post-credit? Like, the post-credit isn't him handing... Well, it could be.
Handing off the shield.
The post-credit to that could be the Sam Wilson handing off the shield, and then it will say, black screen, Bucky Barnes will return as Captain America. Boom, set up a new Captain America,
Yep.
where it's kind of like Winter Soldier-esque.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier-esque, to where instead of Cap saying, wow, I got to get used to this new world, it's Bucky, holy shit, I got to get used to being Captain motherfucking America.
Yeah, he has to...
I got to be the big dog now.
Well, he's got to go from being the guy that was thought of
Everyone
as
wanted to kill him.
Everyone wants to kill him. He's thought
You're
of as
the
a
enemy.
murderer to being a symbol of America, being a symbol of hope.
Oh, what if they put that into it too? The whole like, because let's be honest, with what's been going on in the MCU, if Cap dies,
Yes.
everyone's sad. People would be sad over Captain America dying. I'm not talking real life. I'm talking people in the MCU,
Yeah.
like civilians and stuff.
I mean, we would
and
too.
then this guy takes on the mantle, and it's a guy that you associate as a murderer.
Yeah.
How would that go over?
Not very well.
He's got to then win over the entire basic, like, he's got to win over everybody at that point.
Now, here's the only reason I also brought up about Cap walking away from it. Tony dies.
You think, is that what you're going with?
Well, because let's put it all, and this goes into something you talked about with more Black Panther spoilers. Okay, so Black Panther's sister, you said that would be awesome. Shuri would be awesome if she took on that role of who the new Iron Man, because she's already a tech whiz at a very young age, and takes on that new role that the kind of
and we're talking about Ironheart.
Yes,
what she's
Ironheart.
called. Riri Williams.
Yeah, instead of, I mean, yeah, we did. She's not going to be Riri Williams, but let's say she takes on that role as the new Iron Man or Ironheart. You said
Ironheart is what they call her in the comics.
yes, and then
which, and I don't mean to cut you off really quick, which makes sense because you look at, I'm just looking at the description they have for her. Throw the age out the window. The age could be different, but a 15-year-old genius and the first young black woman to wear the famous armor. What is Shuri? A genius.
a genius.
A tech genius, too.
Yeah, exactly. She's making Black Panther's gear.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she has vibranium to work with, and they have a more advanced society. But still, I mean, that would be awesome. Put that in there. Have Iron Man kind of like in the comics. I've seen bits and pieces of for it, where he's more of a hologram now. It's some semi pre-recorded stuff of Tony Stark, or something along the lines of that. But what would that do? It would devastate everyone that came to know him. Everyone in the Avengers, obviously.
Yeah.
Who more so than anyone? The almost best friend you were fighting with, Captain America. You were like, I don't know how much.
So you're leaning more towards a Tony dies, Cap retires.
Cap's like, I can't, like, just out. He's done. I can't do this anymore. That or he dies. One of the two of them dies. But I'm saying the potential of Tony. I feel like Tony hits it harder than Cap, only for the fact that he has all the Avengers and just as well known as Captain America at this point, like in the MCU as a person. But now it's also Captain America takes it to heart. I mean, Tony Stark would too, but there's also that mantle to fill now of walking away because you can't take it anymore. And
the one thing I'm thinking about, and I'm trying to find an exact shot of it, was so in the Civil War comics, this is a topic for another day. This is like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But the most iconic just comic book page to me, where it's like you read comics and there's always that like 1 or 2 pages to where you will never forget flipping the page and seeing what you saw.
Yeah.
And one of mine came from, I believe it was the Civil War comic, where at the end of one of the issues, you finally get revealed Cap, and he's sitting there with his like back against the wall. He's got his feet pushed in so that his knees are like up by his chest kind of way, with his hands on the knees and his head down, and he just looks defeated. He just looks utterly depressed and defeated. And that is kind of what I can see happening if Tony dies.
Yeah.
If Tony dies, Cap then is a retire. However, the thing that throws a wrench into, it would throw a wrench in for me, is the whole idea of that Captain America movie being Bucky trying to understand what it's like to be Captain America. Because the thing I would want in that movie is I wouldn't want Steve to be there to lean on. I wouldn't want Bucky to be able to go and talk to him. I would want it to be kind of like a Steve is dead, and kind of almost like we see it in so many movies, kind of like T'Challa and his father almost, to where like Bucky's like I could just see him now with the shield and just looking off into like the sky and like, Steve, how the hell did you do it? How did you do this? How did you deal with being Captain America and having to figure out the answer, whether you think it's because Steve is kind of influencing him, but him kind of figuring it out on his own instead of having a crutch to be there to help him.
I mean, the only thing I can fix the wrench a little bit that you were talking about. Just Steve goes gone, like kind of Nick Fury at the end of not Civil War, but end of
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. He just kind of disappears. Steve just disappears. I mean, if you lost
Full on nomad,
but no contact with him in any way, shape, or form.
True.
Because Bucky's his best friend.
especially if Tony dies.
Tony dies. The guy you were kind of best friends with, one of the guys you were best friends with when you came out before finding out Bucky's alive.
Because the interesting thing, too, and I want to throw this in kind of because we're at the end of this conversation, too, is where the MCU is headed. Because to me, it looks like the movies that we have now, so we just saw Black Panther. Obviously, this year we get Infinity War coming in a couple months.
Yes.
Then we get Ant-Man and the Wasp this month. However,
And the Wasp.
the Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Captain Marvel that's in March, those two are backs. So we're going back in time.
Yeah.
We're going Captain Marvel, which is back in the 90s. Ant-Man and Wasp is right after Civil War.
Yes. Between Civil War and Infinity Wars.
But after that, the only movies we have confirmed, the Avengers 4 film, which is going to be after Infinity War. Then in 2 months later, 2 months later, because that's going to be almost what was that, 2 years to the day of Spider-Man Homecoming 1. We're going to get the sequel to that. And then it's Guardians 3 in 2020.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about them.
The thing that, they can change everything, but what it looks like they're going to is after Infinity War, it's going to be more of a cosmic universe.
Things are going to be less like timeline and more kind of fluid.
And the thing,
like the ether.
And the thing that I kind of think about is, are they going to explore those more cosmic part of it, like Guardians and who the Guardians would think about going after in space, and then kind of push like, okay, the Caps, the Iron Mans, everyone on Earth push to the side.
Well, I think they said we're going to explore the cosmic universe, but we're going to make it less timeliney is what they were going to saying too.
Everything's not going to flow one movie.
It's not going to be a timeline of stuff anymore.
Does that mean no more post-credit scenes?
I hope that
they can't stop doing post-credit scenes.
You're gonna have a riot on your hands if you stop post-credit scenes.
You gotta hype us up somehow.
At this point, if you stop post-credit scenes, you're kind of setting up a riot.
Yeah, you got it. You have to give us something.
You at least
they don't have to.
Like a drug addiction, you gotta wean us off.
Yeah, really, you now not just doing one, you're doing two of those guys.
Oh, what? We had up to 4 of them in Guardians and like 3 of them for Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's insane. Also,
you can't just cut us off cold turkey.
Before we end the topic, I want to bring back one thing, and this is not important.
Yeah,
this is kind of me going back and editorializing. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Something.
You guys help me out in the comment section. But when you kind of compared it to the Prowler, in Spider-Man Homecoming, there's a difference with that though, because the Prowler in Spider-Man Homecoming needed to be in that movie because of nothing that MCU is doing, everything that Sony's doing. They can't set up their Spider-Verse unless Miles Morales is there. That sets Miles Morales in the world. Also, thing that, and this is a topic for another day, that I love what it looks like Sony's doing. Sony's basically like Into the Spider-Verse to me is basically going to be, hey, Spider-Man has the best collection. Well, second best collection. Close to first. There's 2 heroes that have the best collection of villains. One is Spider-Man, the other is Batman.
Oh, how did I know that was
best collection of villains?
How could I guess that was coming?
Am I wrong though?
No, you're right. He's got for a single hero. He's got a great collection.
They all have.
I mean, it's really hard.
Numerous ones.
How many heroes do you know that have a collection of villains that you could name off right off the bat. Spider-Man, Batman, sort of Superman.
Yeah.
You can name a few Supermans.
I mean, I'm trying to think. The X-Men are kind of, that's a group.
That's
though.
a group,
that's
though.
Not a single
Group
one.
via group.
Wolverine-ish, but
Wolverine, yes, but not nearly as many.
Yeah.
I could name, but that's also because I'm a Wolverine fan.
you're a Wolverine nut, so that kind of goes into it too.
Yeah.
But like the spider thing that I hope that they do with it, because it'd be awesome, is, you know what? Screw it. Instead of a universe with all these heroes, let's have one guy. Yeah, we got Into the Spider-Verse. That's going to show a couple different Spider-Mans and a different take on it, animated style. But let's just have a universe with one hero filled with all these villains. And let the villains drive the, like, because right now the heroes outnumber the villains. Let the villains outnumber the hero.
Yeah.
How many villains can we fit into this Spider-Verse?
True.
And that's why he needed to be, and that's why I don't think the connection you were making, 100% in my mind.
Let me clarify and slash adapt and rebuttal against what you're saying. The reason I use the Prowler as an example, you didn't have to have the Prowler in there. He could be just Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, you're going to do the Prowler.
You don't have to, though. And that's the thing. It's something that you could mention and not go anywhere with it.
I don't think they officially called him the Prowler.
No, they didn't, but he
just is the Prowler.
They referenced it, though. Like, he was looking... What was he looking for when he was at the truck? Do you have, like, a grappling hook or something?
Yeah.
We're referencing the
He's the Prowler.
We're referencing the
Or
Prowler.
going to be the Prowler.
Let's put it this way. We're referencing the Prowler without bringing in the Prowler. We're referencing White Wolf without bringing in White Wolf.
Exactly.
Unless they decide to do it. So that's where I'm going with that. They're referencing something without having to bring it in.
True.
So we don't... Like, White Wolf was mentioned. They can just do nothing else with it.
This is an argument that we can go on for days.
We could.
Here's my final stance on it.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying is why the connection isn't 100% is Marvel, if they just left White Wolf, then it would be like, all right, cool. That was a cool little nod. If the the Spider-Verse and everything just said, oh, we're going to leave the Prowler, people would go, what are you doing? Miles Morales, like, they need to have him continue to set up that Miles Morales connection.
I'm not saying not to have Miles Morales' uncle. I'm just saying we don't have to continue anything with the Prowler. We don't
yes, he's there, Miles is there, his purpose is served.
Exactly.
Is what you're saying.
We don't have to bring in the actual Prowler.
I get what you're saying. But I want to get what you guys are saying. Let me know down below in the let us know. Down below in the comments section. Yeah, just let me know.
Just Ricky,
just
I guess.
me. I did the same thing to Brandon on the Primetime Podcast where I'm like, I said something like, my fans. And he's like, oh, great. They're not my fans too?
Oh, yes. It's all about Ricky.
They are your fans too. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section about Bucky. Will he become Captain America? Will he become White Wolf? Down below in that comment section. But Johnny, let's move on into our final topic. And we're talking superhero fatigue. This is actually... This is one we're taking from a back podcast. So about 2 weeks ago, we were going to do a podcast, but somebody, not going to name who, came down with an illness. And I was
somebody got the flu.
Yeah, couldn't find a replacement. I was like, you know what? We'll just put it off for a future time. Didn't want to do this one by myself. I wanted your input on it as well. We're talking about, will superhero fatigue ever set in? We just saw Black Panther this weekend. Yes. Review is live on the YouTube channel and Most Available Podcast and the Blog Talk Radio podcast services around the world. Wherever you listen to us, it is there. But will superhero fatigue ever set in? The reason why we're asking this question is in an interview with Vulture for Black Panther, Kevin Feige briefly touched on the subject of superhero movie fatigue while discussing his future at Marvel Studios beyond 2019 after Avengers 4 hits theater and concludes the MCU's first saga. Here's the quote that he had. For years, predating the history of Marvel Studios itself, people asked me about superhero fatigue and if it was a fad or a phase. I say if they're all different, if they're all special, nobody will get tired of these things. before we at Marvel Studios will, since we live and breathe these things 24 hours a day. You make films like Thor Ragnarok, like Homecoming, like Guardians of the Galaxy, certainly like Panther, and the upcoming Infinity War to keep interesting and change it up. And we will continue to do that. End quote. I think he's right. And the reason why I say that is how many Marvel movies now where go back and watch Iron Man, go back and watch Captain America, the First Avenger, go back and watch The Incredible Hulk. How different are those movies from what we see now? Vastly different. And I mean, even look at, I'm just going to use the last 2 Marvel movies we saw.
Yeah. Compare
Thor Ragnarok to Black Panther.
Vastly different.
2 completely different movies.
Yeah.
One was a complete comedy.
Yeah.
The other one was more of a...
It was a...
It was kind of like a traditional superhero movie, but it was very embedded with the politics of Wakanda.
Yes. Which was, again, another nice
by the way, spoilers for Black Panther. There, I threw it out.
Oh, wow.
I said it before we got huge spoilers.
Huge spoilers.
No, I'm just saying, spoilers, if you haven't seen Black Panther, you probably should.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's vastly even Marvel, even though like if you break it down to its root, you can see a lot of the same things with superhero movies, but everything's different. It's always different. And for this superhero fatigue thing, nonsense. I think it's nonsense because anyone like you, honestly, anyone like you, like me, like Dave, anyone like our friend group like that,
is gonna go see a superhero movie.
It's gonna go see it until we A, die, or B, run out of money. Whichever one comes first.
Well, and here's the thing I think about, and I just popped in my head. It's because Marvel's making good movies.
They are.
And I put it this way. If every single superhero movie was like what we've seen from DC minus Wonder Woman, yeah, we would have superhero fatigue. Because
we probably would.
It would be like, oh my God, why are you coming out with another one of these movies? They're not even that good. Like, oh my God, why?
That's
feel
when
like
you're kind of pushing it a little bit.
Fatigue will set in when... Fatigue only sets in for me when you feel like it's a chore.
Yes.
When you feel like, just think of anything you love doing. Like, the way I do it is I relate it back to sports. Sometimes you'll hear the athlete go where it's like, yeah, you know what? Eventually, I just lost the love of the game. I just felt like I can't do, like, the example I think of, and I bring this up numerous times, for you, Johnny, because you're not a sports guy, I'll be really in-depth with it. There was a player for the Oakland Raiders, and he was playing a late game in December in Detroit.
Okay.
And he said, I know the exact moment where I decided to retire. He said it was week, 8 out of a 16, 17-week season. He's like, I woke up from my hotel room in Detroit, looked out at the snow, and said, what happened if I just don't show up to the game today? What would happen if I just didn't show up and I just went back to bed? He's like, that's the exact moment. He's like, this is the last season. This is when I have to hang it up. When it feels like a chore, like going to these superhero movies is a chore, then that's when fatigue sets in. But the way Marvel has it, none of these movies feel like a chore because of how good they are. And kind of going back to what Feige said, they're all like, MCU's trying to keep it different, trying to not rehash what they did. Let's take what we did, make it better, and then expand off of that and do different things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you may have the same A plus B equals C formula, but I mean, one of them
and kill your villains.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill them all off. Kill them all except Loki.
He's the only one not to die, right?
I think so.
I mean,
and Vulture.
Oh, and Hela. And Hela didn't die, I don't think. We don't know. We're assuming she didn't.
About the same death as about the same certainty of death as Red Skull got.
True. We don't even know he could come back.
Exactly.
He could come back.
We just saw blue light. He's gone. We didn't see an actual death.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll give you that one. Those could come back. But I mean, really, what I'm looking at is like, look at the DC side.
Yeah.
Their movies have not been so hot.
Wonder Woman.
I see more fatigue on that side than the MCU side.
No, MCU's been hitting it strong, and they still are in phase 3.
Yeah. And going into their, like we mentioned in the last segment, their cosmic phase.
Yes.
Of everything. I remember way back. This was back Avengers, when the Avengers was coming out. I remember sitting down with Mark Weber talking about superhero movies. And Mark, you're listening. Tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting this wrong in the comment section, or hit me up on Twitter or my cell phone. You guys, you have it. But I remember Mark saying something along the lines of, eventually we're going to get fatigued with this. Honestly, eventually there's going to be superhero movies where it's like, how many times can I see the same heroes doing the same thing? And he's like, eventually this is all going to go away. And what, we're looking 5 years later? Yeah, 5-6 years later, and we're still going strong.
Since the Avengers movie, or since this started?
The Avengers movie.
Okay, because let's see.
That was 2012.
Since it started, it's been over a decade.
Yeah, no, since it started, it's been a decade, but Avengers was 2012. So that's been about 6 years since Mark and I had that conversation.
Yeah. Because
you got to understand, I didn't know Mark when So Mark and I didn't know each other in 2007 when Iron Man came out. I was still in high school. We didn't meet until like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So this was 2 years after we had already been friends. That's we have the conversation. It was around that Avengers timeline of, hey, you know what? Look at what they just did. They built this team. They brought them together. First time we've ever seen it. Okay, what new things can they do?
Yeah.
Is it just going to be a rehashing? And that's why he was like, eventually we're probably going to get fatigued with superheroes. We haven't, and it's been 6 years.
What I'm thinking is, overall it's been 10 though. But
yeah, no, I'm talking about since that conversation.
6 years since that conversation. Overall, I would say that the only ways we're going to get fatigue is we start using like C, and when I say C rated, it's not because they're shitty superheroes. It's because that's their
the
well known.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're getting, and if this goes through, they buy out Fox. They've just hit a whole slew of superheroes we haven't seen with Marvel, with Disney Marvel. So we're gonna get a bunch more, and it's probably quite a few years more with those characters then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's not separate entities making these anymore. This is now MCU having everything except the Spider-Verse.
Well, like even go off after this, where I'm going to bring the TV shows into it as well. Back in 2007, go back to that time.
Okay.
Would you have said, this is before the MCU, before the superhero genre we know it as now? I'm going to throw out some heroes, and you tell me if you would have been excited to see either a movie or a TV show about them at that point before of what we know they would be. Jessica Jones. Black Widow. Hawkeye.
No.
What about a character like, now I'm really trying to think for it. Those were my big three, but like even Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yes.
What about Daredevil? Those are a little bit bigger. That's
when did that first Daredevil movie come out? That was before.
That was like 2005.
Then no,
it was early 2000s.
Maybe at that time, because it was like we didn't have a lot of them, and
we were just mourning the movie.
I mean, maybe I would have been excited because maybe it's
2003, so I was 2 years off.
Because technically we did get a Daredevil one in 2003, so it's like,
yeah, that was the
at that time it was good because it's like, oh, this is what we got. It wasn't that bad. Now that you have something to compare it to, it was bad. One
of the main things I will always remember with that movie, and will always link to that movie, is Evanescence "Bring Me to Life." Wake me up, wake me up! I can't wake up. Yeah, that will always be in my mind when it comes to that movie. Yeah, because it was on the soundtrack. That's where I heard it. Can't wait for that movie. Like I love that song. But getting back to the whole fatigue thing in general, is they're keeping it interesting. They're keeping us guessing. And even with you, they're adding Fox. They're now getting the X-Men hopefully getting the X-Men properties. I saw something.
And Fantastic Four.
We always forget that. I saw something that Comcast could be trying to bid in to try to get.
Keep your grubby mitts out of this.
But
keep your grubby fucking mitts out of this.
I mean, that's more properties for them to do interesting things. And look at what they've done. I know I'm going back to this, But even like I look at Thor Ragnarok as the main example.
Yeah.
To where you come in and you go, hey, you know what? We walked out like that was amazing. Did not expect a comedy.
No, it was vastly different than anything we've seen with the Marvel Universe. And it was really good. Thank you, Watiti.
No, that's
is that how you pronounce it?
Taka Waititi.
Because
did you actually, I was just going to look it up because I thought you were going to talk a little longer.
Yeah, sorry.
The thing that I'm going to see if I can find it right here on the podcast I was reading. I know I told Dave about it, which I'm trying to look for a good source that I want to go with here. I'm just going to go up to the top one. So this is from AV Club. And the headline reads, Taka Waititi cooks up a rom-com for Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that.
Would you, think
see
back to 27, would you want to see a rom-com between Vision and Scarlet Witch before the MCU?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Before the MCU, I don't even Vision, Scarlet Witch, get it out of here.
I've heard of them. I don't know anything about them before the MCU. Now, that's part of what the movies do. When you don't know characters very well, it prompts you to read more into them.
Hell, even do this when Thor 1 was coming out.
Yes.
You weren't as Thor 1 was kind of I've heard about Thor. I'm going to go see it, but I don't know a ton about Thor.
When we cosplayed, what was the what happened?
That was after the movie, though.
That was after the movie, but
yeah,
I still didn't know that much about Thor at the time. I hadn't been gone into my research of that yet. I'll automatically, Johnny, you're Thor. Thanks, guys.
You just looked like him.
I know. I looked like him the most. It's just thanks for no choice.
Yeah,
and that's the reaction I had then. Now it's I'm working on my third Thor cosplay.
And even think about the movies we were getting.
Someday I'll get pictures up, maybe a year from now.
Think about the movies we were getting before the MCU, when we were kids. It was a lot of Batman, a lot of Superman.
We got
Wonder Woman wasn't even a thing.
Nope.
Green Lantern wasn't. Well, Green Lantern wasn't a thing mainly because of the CGI technology.
Yeah, that was something that was. Thank you for making fun of that in Deadpool.
I know that the whole look at Deadpool. You couldn't do that
no, not very well.
Let me put it this way. You could have done it raunchy style 20 years ago in the 90s.
Yeah.
No one would have batted an eyelash to how raunchy it was and how R-rated it was.
That's true.
Because let's be honest, the 90s was, I kind of think of the Attitude Era in wrestling where that was kind of the rebellious time of our society with the suck it and everything that.
What was a big type of music in that time? Punk.
Yeah. It was rebellious type
Rebellious style music. A big band in that era was, Nirvana.
Sum 41 too.
Yeah.
Sum 41. Of course, someone's going to go
different.
It's not real punk, but whatever.
I'm just saying different ranges of punk, were very prominent. And punk started more so in the 80s, but at the very end of the 80s.
The Misfits.
Exactly.
That's who I really think of when it comes to punk. But it kind of started with the grunge punk in the 80s.
That's the other one. Grunge was the 90s. Looking for.
When you say Nirvana, that's
grunge. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and but you think about Deadpool now, because of what we've had with the MCU has kind of paved the way
for everything else.
Superhero movies in general, because think about
most of them are paying attention.
I get it. That's a knock at DC. Ha ha ha, I forgot to laugh. However, the thing I was going to say about Deadpool is because of the now more casual people want to go see superhero movies because it's the thing, because they're actually good movies. Go back to our top movies for 2017 that were in the running for that award. Yeah, Logan won it. Superhero movie, by the way. Or no, did Logan win it?
Movie, yes.
Did it win our Best Picture?
Best Picture.
That's right. It was between that and Wonder Woman, I believe.
Yes.
Which... 2 superhero movies. You look at most of our top 5, or not top 5, I think it was top 6. Off the top of my head, Logan was in it, Wonder Woman was in it, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, Thor. That's what, 5?
5 superhero movies.
5 of our best movies. And of course, for us, people are going to say, guys, it's skewed. You guys go and see more of those nerdy movies. But the ones that were in our running for best movie, Logan, Guardians 2, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man Homecoming, Kingsman the Golden Circle, Thor Ragnarok, and Beauty and the Beast. Most of those are superhero movies.
Yeah.
And the lowest superhero movie we had for 2017 was Justice League. We both gave it a 4. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't bad, but it was low on our rankings. Whereas every other superhero movie was a 5.
Yeah.
Was a 5. Like Thor, Spider-Man.
It's low for a superhero movie.
And that's like where we're at, that they keep setting the bar. They set the bar and then they push the bar up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the guys that you see, like the chin-ups where they use their momentum to go up the next one.
That's
That's exactly what the superhero movies are doing. Is they're just climbing the next
That's what Marvel's
rung.
doing with them. They're pushing the envelope each time.
Like I was going to say with Deadpool, MCU sets the way. People want to go see it. Yeah, it's rated R, but how many people would have wanted to go see Deadpool? Like Deadpool's a popular hero, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But how many casual people would have wanted to go see it in the 90s?
Not nearly as many.
If it was in the 90s or in the early 2000s, let's say.
Not nearly as many.
No, not nearly
Just
as
people
all.
who are comic book fans of Deadpool.
I mean, even look at the Spider-Man Homecoming compared to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And I know, Johnny, you're looking at it and you're going, well, that's because the Spider-Man Homecoming was an actual good movie. I know that's what you're thinking in your head. We have had discussions about this. The comment section is on my side.
Yep.
People generally agree. Dave is also one that's like, Johnny doesn't like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. It was the most true to the comics of any superhero movie we've seen. I get what you're going at. Because I mean, even look at the numbers, and I know this is unfair. This is unfair because it's a little inflation, but it proves a point too that it's not that bad of a movie because the budget for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was $139 million. Do you want to know how much it made in the box office? $821.7 million. Spider-Man Homecoming spent a little bit more than that, spent $175 million on its budget, reeled in $880.2 million. I'm going to take that little extra, $60 million extra, and contribute that to the rise of what superhero movies are now.
Yeah.
Like, not the best example because Spider-Man, the first one, wasn't a flop. Like, it made its money back tenfold. Whereas, but even this, like, new Spider-Man, even more money. Like, even you know what? Screw it. Just for the sake of seeing where it went. 2012, The Amazing Spider-Man. That one was, is this the first one? Yeah, that's the first one.
The Amazing, yeah.
So Sony spent about $200 to $230 million.
Okay.
The biggest production of all three of these Spider-Man only made $757.9 million. Still a lot of money. Still made their money back, but it wasn't as successful as the other two. And that's kind of like, I take that however you want. However you want to take it, whether you think it relates, whether you think it doesn't relate, let us know. What are your final thoughts on this?
Honestly, I don't think superhero fatigue is really a thing right now. At least
do you think there will ever be a time that the superhero, I'm going to call, in this situation, I'm calling it a craze, but I know it's not a craze. Do you ever see a time where the superhero movies are done and we're just exhausted with anything that we can do and we're on to the next thing?
Very few ways I can see it happening. We run out of superheroes, like A and B list superheroes to use. And when I say that, I mean like people that we know about, or Marvel finally hits a wall, which I don't see that happening for a while. For a while, but the wall could be there because eventually it's
someday. What do we do with these characters that we haven't done before?
Yeah. I mean, it's the problem. That's the problem is like, well, here's the thing on that. Have you ever, before it came out, before you heard anything about it, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Okay.
Did you ever even hear of them before.
No.
Exactly.
Guardians of the Galaxy, never heard of them as a kid.
Nope. Never heard a thing about them. Didn't know anything about them.
Never did anything about Guardians of the Galaxy.
So, I mean, that's a way to get you into some characters you never heard about before. Now look how popular they are.
True. The Rocket and Groot, Baby Groot's right here.
Exactly.
Like, they're massive.
Exactly.
I mean, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, like, that helped catapult Chris Pratt.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's in Jurassic World. And of course, he was a big actor before that, but Star-Lord catapulted him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
This is where I want to turn on to you guys. Is Johnny taking off his headphones? I believe that means Johnny's
that's the
done.
cue. No.
However, Johnny's got to sit tight. We got to record it, even though it's out already. We got to record our Black Panther review. So go ahead, check that one out. I hope you guys like the podcast. Let us know what you guys think down below about anything we talked about today: superhero fatigue, Bucky Barnes becoming Cap or White Wolf, or the Incredible 2 trailer. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Little housekeeping here at the end. Number one, patreon.com/mostvaledpodcast. That is where you help support us. If you want to help support us, $1 can get you an exclusive podcast each and every month, along with numerous other things that our patrons get over at patreon.com. Number two, go ahead and give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. It would really mean the world to us. Store link is in the description. That's where you can get your MVP t-shirt. Go check out mostvaledpodcast.com. Bookmark it. That's where everything for MVP is going to be. Want to thank you guys for listening. Want to thank you guys for watching. And as always, have a good day, everybody.